Hello students, welcome to our course for York College GRS 5311. My name is Dr. Sandra Romo and this is our first week of the course. This lecture will go over your expectations for Unit 1, which is our Week 1 material. By now you should have read everything in the Getting Started section, as well as the course overview, the course guide, all of those wonderful things to help you know how to navigate the course and to understand various aspects of what is expected of you, the first things first section, all of those things, so you're ready to go through Canvas all the way up into Unit 1. So Unit 1 covers our introduction to research. I want to provide a brief overview really quickly just to let you know about the late policy. So I don't anticipate any of you will have any issues with submitting your work on time. I know that you're all strong working professionals and designed and ready and geared to get all of that work in. I just want you to be aware of it though early on in the course. So the late policy applies to any assignments after Sunday. So once Sunday's finished, the week is over. The week 1 is over. You have a 5-day period until Friday in week 2 to submit any missing work for a 20% deduction. So you have some time to get that in if you need that. In addition, I will be providing in this lecture an overview of our objectives for the week, as well as some guiding questions we'll be looking to answer, as well as our agenda, which kind of organizes what we're doing. Everything I'm going through in this video lecture is in Canvas, so it's not anything outside of the course. Just a brief little introduction about me, for those of you that have not read my intro note or want to know a little more. I really love the area of academic research. Scholarship is one of my favorite things to complete outside of teaching students. I've been teaching since 2009, and I have taught face-to-face, online, hybrid courses for a number of institutions. I teach here at York on an adjunct or a part-time basis. My full-time job is working at California Baptist University. I teach in their online and professional studies program. I am the department chair over there for the Arts and Sciences department, where I oversee all the faculty within the areas of arts and sciences, and I'm the program director or coordinator for their undergraduate and graduate programs in strategic communication. So I am a firm believer in Christian higher education. I know we all have a calling, and I know that the Lord has brought us all to be together in this place for this moment in time to learn from one another in a number of different ways. I'm simply facilitating His material for you during this term, and I hope that I can be of use to you in the class. So these unit objectives, these are our guiding big ideas, areas that we're focusing on. If you look at it in the introduction to the unit, it tells you by the end of this unit, you should accomplish. These are the 4 things you should accomplish. So this week we are looking at being able to draw on class discussions and course readings to identify a preliminary research topic. We are looking to explore general information in sources to increase our familiarity within a topic and a context, as well as being able to use information from course readings to discuss and to identify seminal sources on a topic, and then more importantly, number 4, being able to modify the topic to an achievable, manageable research question, which is one of our primary assignments this week, working on a research question. Our guiding questions, again, this is directly from Canvas. These are 4 things we're looking to answer by the end of the week. What you'll know, and I'm not going to read through each question, but what you'll know in looking at the slide and seeing these questions, especially after reading them in Canvas, is that this class is your introduction to academic research. We're going to be spending time this term answering questions, engaging in discussions, and things that are related to how we can conduct academic research, and then ultimately looking at what we would design if we had a research proposal we were going to conduct and actually conduct a research study, and then creating a literature review. So that's where we're going to end up at the end of the term. When you look through the term, you'll see that we have a lot of different things for each unit and each week. My suggestion to you is just take 1 unit at a time. Know that all of our deadlines are 11:59 p.m. on Sundays Central Time. Do know that if we have a discussion, your initial post, like a discussion board assignment, is due on Thursday, and the reply posts are due on Sunday. The late period for discussions starts after Sunday, so don't worry about that if you're a little late. But you do need to have that initial post in on time so we can have a fruitful discussion. Our agenda, these are the things we're accomplishing this week, tells us we're reading chapters 1 through 5 of the course text. There are a few online articles that are attached in the reading. They're listed as optional readings. Those are all great sources. I definitely think you should take a look and peruse them. Maybe not give them a detailed read, but at least click the link and see if you want to save that for later on when you're working on an assignment or things like that. Those are all very good sources for you in the term, the entire term. We're watching 2 videos I put into the course about Introduction to Academic Research, as well as what is a research gap. You'll find the number one thing that we're learning about in research is that we're trying to fill a gap in what's been studied out there about whatever topic area we're looking at, education or leadership for those of you that are here in any of the York programs or in any other area of academic study. So in the complete section of this agenda that I created, it looks like we have a lot to do. We have 3 assignments, so don't fret, don't get too scared when you see that complete section. Discussion 1A is your initial post. It's due on Thursday with your replies due on Sunday. Assignment 1B is also a discussion. It's where you're developing your research question that's going to kind of guide you for the rest of the term. That's due on Thursday with replies due on Sunday. And then your practice quiz, assignment 1C, is due on Sunday, and it's a short quiz that comes from a lot of the reading, some information, some terminology we need to know about research as we move into Unit 2. So discussion 1A is a very simple little question post in the Unit 1. There are 4 things I want you to get out of this. So the question says, where do we regularly see quantitative and qualitative research in action in our everyday life? How do you personally use or participate in the research, sometimes without even knowing it? And then 3, make sure to reply to at least 2 other students with 150 words reply for each student. There's 4 things that I want you to get out of doing this discussion. I want you to make connections with your peers. I want you to consider how we use research in a multitude of ways, because research is conducted academically through academic institutions. We know that. But it influences us in many different ways in our everyday life. I want you to also think about defining and explaining research. That's what we're really doing by answering those questions. It's not explicitly, there's not a prompt that says defined what research is to you. Rather, you're answering that kind of implicitly through answering those questions. And I want to see your engagement with peers. I use discussions in online courses to facilitate what we would be discussing if we met in person. So since we're not meeting in person, and since there's many of us from throughout the United States, in particular, I live in Southern California. I know some of you are in the Midwest. I know some of you are in the South. So think about that, and to think about how some of these questions are answered differently with our peers based off of our regional locations. Our geographic location can impact our thoughts and feelings and things of how we respond to different things and what we've known about those particular things. With that, I want you to think about it, meditate on it, spend some time really kind of considering it, and give us your best answer there. I'm not necessarily looking for an incorrect or correct answer. I'm looking for how you're dealing with the material. Assignment 1B is our research question assignment. It is created as a discussion. There's 4 things I want you to get out of that assignment as well. You're creating a valid research question. This research question will be the area that you are spending the most time researching throughout the term, through all of our assignments. You need to discuss its relevance, you need to share the thought process, and you need to engage with peers. When you open up this assignment in Canvas, you'll see that there's a video to watch. That video is very important because it teaches you the importance of research questions as well as how to write them. You need to complete the assigned readings for the unit, as well as utilize the selecting a topic link to the external site that helps you understand how and why we should select topics. Make sure you spend some time brainstorming about ideas and topics that you find interesting and that are related to current educational or leadership concerns that you think you should answer. If you're not sure, email me some of those brainstorming ideas. I would be happy to respond back and give you some feedback before you actually draft your question. Sometimes it may seem obvious, but picking a topic of personal interest will make this process go a lot more smoothly for you. I always tell students that I work extensively with students in their thesis process projects in the university where I teach full time, and is find a topic that's relevant to you, find a topic that you like, and find a topic that you would like to spend some time with, because you're going to be reading a lot about it. It's important to know that you need to select a topic of interest while also considering its scope. If the topic is too broad, it's going to be very difficult to research. I know that kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but you need to have something that's very specific so it's researchable and you can find that very easily. It's hard to find information that is focused and relevant when your topic is too big, but you also don't want it to be too narrow because then it's hard to find any information at all. So sometimes you have to expand the scope a little bit. In your post this week, discuss in a few sentences a description for your specific research question. Make sure you're telling us why you picked it, its relevance to leadership or education, would it lend itself to empirical tests, meaning is this a testable question? Would it lend itself to a study that would be ethically sound? Given your knowledge of education and or leadership, this question should be a new question, and it should be something that you want to spend some time researching. So go through that in there, reply to 2 peers, and it should be a great discussion to see what we all come up with and what we're all thinking about when it comes to scholarship. Practice quiz 1C. This is an intent of study quiz. It's a real brief quiz. I will tell you this, it relies a lot on the information from the reading. It's open book, it's unlimited attempts, and it's a review of the course content. So what I say when I say this is that it's designed for you to kind of guide yourself on what you should be focusing on in the reading. And so the questions that are asked are some of those markers of things that you should make sure you know by the end of the week. But most importantly, it should also let you know that you shouldn't be afraid of it at all. I have one of my children suffers from test anxiety, so I like to try to make this as user-friendly as possible. You can take it as many times as you want and take as long as you want with the quiz within the 1 week period for this week, and the highest score will automatically be recorded. Meaning, if you take it 2 times and you're not happy with your score, you want to try again, go ahead. As long as it's by the deadline on Sunday, you'll be able to. The system will automatically record your highest time. So score. I'm sorry, not longest time you spent on the quiz. So take your time with it. If you're not happy with it, you can definitely take it again. I have it open for you to be able to take multiple times, multiple attempts. Highest score automatically recorded. You can use your book. There's nothing there that is preventing you from being able to do that successfully. I want to talk about the value of academic research. So I'm shifting from our assignments to our topic area, what we're covering in our course content this week, which is the value of academic research. As we look at and consider the value of academic research, it helps us when we're shaping and looking at becoming researchers ourselves. So there's 4 things that I really think it's important for us to understand when we look at the value of academic research. It allows students to learn and think in new and complex ways. You're going to stretch your brain and your muscles neurologically in ways that you might not have. You are, instead of reading information that was researched for you, you are thinking about how to research information to present it to others. It helps you appreciate your discipline more. It helps you appreciate more of what the content is you're studying. I know you're education and leadership students, and looking at how you can conduct education and leadership research is going to help you appreciate your discipline more. It'll help you improve your analytical thinking skills from thinking on the outside instead of the inside, and you'll have resources that will help you become a lifelong learner, thinking critically about information and evaluating it in new ways. Now, when we look at the purpose of academic research, there's 5 things that happen. 1, it solves people puzzles. I'll get into that in a second. 2, it helps you gain knowledge. It organizes knowledge. It clarifies and it explains. So academic research looks at bridging theory and research together, meaning theory helps explain what we're studying, and what we're studying helps explain theory. So theories help us understand and helps us to solve people puzzles that we can encounter. Research helps us learn and to answer questions we develop about those people puzzles. So our theories suggest research activities, and our research work leads to new theories. So think about that. When you're looking at some of your textbooks from other classes, I implore you to look at some of those as you're developing your ideas for research. Think about some of the theories that you've looked at in education, Maslow's, you've looked at Bloom's taxonomies, different methodologies about different learners and things like that. When you think of some of Vygotsky's principles, and when you think of some of the things that we've learned from Dewey, you know that through research, they found those things and models that we've implemented into educational classrooms. When you look at it from a leadership perspective, you think of things like transformational leadership, being an authentic leader, things of those natures. We have learned that from observations and research conducted in the workplace. So why do we do research? Research will help us organize our existing knowledge, help us seek to resolve inconsistent findings in life, as well as attempt to relate new information, understand, explain, or predict events, clarifies our theories, improves our instruction, tests and refines methodologies, and it helps us describe, experiment, and look at naturalistic attempts to how we conduct life. So there are a lot of values and purposes that come to academic research that will help you in a plethora of ways. Now, the chapter talks about 5 things as to why we should conduct academic research. Now, remember, we're going through chapters 1 through 5. This particular area in the Creswell text that talks about the 5 reasons why we should conduct academic research is probably some of the most important information in the reading you'll get this week. We need to fill a gap, and we have a video on there that this week that we're going to watch about filling a research gap. The biggest thing is if you have this idea and then you know it exists and that you know it's been researched, you want to find the one little area that it hasn't been researched too much. You want to create content that can contribute to the existing body of knowledge, meaning you want to have that topic have been researched in some way. You want to find the gap to be able to bridge it. For example, a case in point, when I completed my dissertation, I looked at how autism, finding out you have a child that has autism, impacts and influences the identity of families. I knew that there was information out there related to autism, how people adjust to autism diagnoses, not so much, more about how the family adjusts to the breakdown of the family is what I found more of. But I didn't know what that connection was to how you come out of the dark tunnel from learning about having a child with autism to living your life and having your new identity. Where I filled that gap is I used communication to fill that gap. In my dissertation, I looked at how families communicate about an autism diagnosis in their family to be able to create their own new identity. I looked at the role communication played. There was a gap. Why? Because most of the research about autism was rooted in psychology and the medical journals, as well as some like cultural anthropology journals or education journals. I was looking at how you teach kids with autism, how the psychological effects of raising a child with autism or just of having autism and things of those natures. Rather, I didn't look at any of that too much. What I looked at is what role does communication play? How do families communicate about this to the public, to various people? What kind of identities do they shape? That filled a hole because there wasn't a lot of information out there about the communication factor, the communicative influence of that. So fill a gap. We need to always revisit previous problems. I revisited that in my dissertation. There's ways that we can revisit that now. How kids are learning today from an educational perspective in light of the pandemic is revisiting a previous problem that already existed. How do we fill educational gaps? How do we reach learners that have a difficulty learning in the classroom or through traditional means? We're using online learning primarily. How do we adjust those struggling students? We've always been trying to address struggling students. We're revisiting a previous problem in a new way now. So think about extending past results to your new results, as well as to learn from people affected by the problem. A huge issue with research, I mean, not an issue, but a major finding of it, is to learn from the people that have been affected by the problem that you're researching, being able to tell their stories, to communicate to the masses about what they have gone through, to be able to learn from them in some way, as well as to improve our current practices. A lot of research that's used in business is to improve current practices or to come up with new practices, best practices for the business. So I wanted to present some of this to you so you were able to see and understand some of the things that we're working on. Remember, this is our agenda. We have our discussion 1A, our assignment 1B, which is also a discussion, and our practice quiz 1C. These are our guiding questions. These are the things that we're answering by the end of the week. And these are our objectives, the things we want to accomplish. So I am here for you. If you need anything, feel free to reach out. My office hours are typically Tuesdays and Thursdays virtually. I have a way that you can click a link to just schedule an appointment with me, or you can call me during my office hours. I'll be available, or you can send me an email anytime. I respond pretty frequently. My goal for turnaround time is about 12 hours. Usually 6, sometimes a little less if it's during the business day. I'll answer it right away. But other than that, I just pray you will have a blessed week. I'm really looking forward to getting to know all of you and reading your introductions and things like that. So I pray, like I said, that you have a blessed week and that you get some time to rest in addition to working on the course materials. God bless.